You've just been transported to ancient Egypt, and you're given one choice. Would you rather be a human or a cat? If you picked human, you just lost. But if you picked cat, congratulations, you're about to live like royalty. Welcome to a world where a tail meant more than a crown. The Meowing Empire cats ruled Egypt for over 4,000 years. That's 1,000 years before Rome even appeared on the maps. And they weren't some mythical creatures. They were very real cats weighing about 5 kilograms. The Egyptians called them Miu. Yeah, they literally named them after the sound they make. Imagine you're building the greatest structure in human history, then going home at night to feed your god named Miu. Dream job, hunting in gods today. We take dogs for hunting, but the Egyptians, they took cats. Ancient artwork shows cats helping hunters catch birds in the marshes of the Nile. This wasn't just affection, it was a contract. Cats protected grain from rats, which meant they saved the nation from starvation. In gratitude, Egyptians elevated them to the rank of deities. Bastet, the goddess of joy and protection, had the head of a cat. Bronze cat statues stood in every home. It was their version of a smart home security system. The war lost because of kittens. This sounds like a bad joke, but it's a historical fact. In 525 BC, the Persian king Cambyses II pulled off the most brilliant and dirty maneuver in history. He knew an Egyptian would rather die than harm a cat. The Persians released cats directly onto the battlefield and even attached them to their shields. The Egyptian soldiers simply refused to shoot. They surrendered. A great empire fell because the enemy used a fluffy living shield. Call it fanaticism, but to them it was loyalty to the gods. The price of life and eyebrows. The laws in Egypt were simple. A cat's life is priceless. Accidentally cat, get ready for execution. But the weirdest part started when a cat died of natural causes. The entire family would fall into deep mourning, and their way of showing it was shaving off their eyebrows. Every time you saw someone on the street without eyebrows, you knew they were mourning their god, and they wouldn't glue them back on until they grew back naturally. 300,000 mummies. A cat's death was the beginning of an expensive process. They were mummified as carefully as the pharaohs. Archaeologists found the city of Bubastis, where over 300,000 cat mummies were buried in the ground. Think about that. These aren't random burials, it's an entire industry. While thousands of poor people ended their journey in simple holes in the sand, cats were embalmed with honors that an ordinary person could only dream of.
Toxic medicine. In ancient Egyptian medicine, cats were not only sacred, but also broken down into ingredients for remedies, including fur, fat, and even urine. These mixtures were believed to push away disease spirits and protect the body from invisible forces, even when the treatment itself sounds disturbing today. Thousands of years later, this reverence took a dark turn when animal mummies were shipped to Britain in massive quantities. Instead of being preserved, many were crushed and used as fertilizer, turning sacred bodies into industrial material. Cats that inherited fortunes. Some Egyptian nobles reportedly left entire estates to their cats, including servants and wealth, to maintain them after death. In a world of harsh human survival, a cat could unexpectedly become one of the richest beings in the household. Egypt's cat recovery missions. Cats were so valuable that taking one out of Egypt was considered a serious crime, and historical accounts suggest authorities even tried to recover stolen cats from abroad. It wasn't just ownership, it was national-level obsession. Industrial cat farms. Temples ran massive breeding systems where thousands of cats were raised specifically for religious offerings. Pilgrims would buy mummified kittens, believing their sacrifice would directly reach the goddess Bastet through ritual devotion. Fake cat mummies. Not every sacred mummy was real. CT scans reveal many contained sticks, feathers, or fragments instead of full animals. Ancient priests were essentially running a religious supply chain where appearance mattered more than reality. 70 million animal mummies. The scale of animal mummification reached staggering levels, with tens of millions of animals preserved across Egypt. The forbidden rescue. Even in life-threatening moments like fire, Egyptians were expected to prioritize divine order over saving a cat. Some accounts describe people standing back while rituals were performed, as interfering with fate was considered forbidden. The blind guardians. Certain temple cats were allegedly blinded, so they could see the spiritual world more clearly. In this belief system, physical sight was replaced with spiritual perception, making the cat a more powerful divine messenger. The curse ingredients. In darker magical practices, the remains of temple kittens were sometimes used in curse rituals. Their bones were believed to carry lingering spiritual force, turning sacred animals into tools of forbidden magic. We haven't changed. 4,000 years have passed. We no longer execute people for harming cats or shave our eyebrows, officially. But look around. We still build them temples on the internet, buy them the best food, and forgive them for destroying our apartments. Maybe the Egyptians were just the first to admit the obvious. We are only here to open their cans. What would you do for your cat? Would you shave your eyebrows? Let me know in the comments. Subscribe to No Ordinary. We tell the truth here.